Alabama. 1 of 1 from 50-plus this year. 54-yard try right hash. Kick is up, and the kick is good! Big legs travel.
If the offense can't do it, defense will.
The Jets are 0 of 2 on third down. This is 3rd and 6 from the Vikings 38. 3 receivers right, 1 left. They blitz Rodgers, and they pay for it. Picked off by Van Ginkel. Near side to the 50. On the sideline, 40. And is loose. Touchdown! Andrew Van Ginkel has put Aaron Rodgers on the 5th pick 6 of his career. It's a 63-yard return, and the Minnesota Vikings have taken a 9-0 lead.
One bad throw deserves another.
Jets 0 of 3 on third down. We're near the end of the first quarter. The Jets have yet to achieve a first down. 2 receivers left, 2 right. Rodgers blitzed again. He'll fire over the middle. Intercepted! Yes! Picked off at the 42-yard line by Cam Bynum. And for Cam, that's his 2nd interception this year. And this stadium, which is colored in purple, has plenty of reason to cheer. The Vikings have the ball and a 10-0 lead.
Man, that defense on 4th down. How about that?
The Vikings have been fantastic on 4th down this year on defense. Out of 12 tries, they've only allowed 4 first downs. 4th and short, pistol, handoff, Braylon Allen, and he's stopped! Braylon Allen, Dallas Turner, great play. Forced him into Blake Cashman, and now the Vikings turn over the New York Jets on downs.
Hey, it's C.J. Ham.
1st and goal from the 2. Handoff, C.J. Ham, up the middle, touchdown! A 2-yard touchdown run by C.J. Ham. That's his first rushing touchdown since 2020. And the Vikings lead 16-0.
Move on up, as in Harrison Smith, Hall of Fame potential charts.
Jets 1 of 6 on third down. Rodgers, a 4-time MVP, facing a blitz, and he's sacked! Taken down by Harry the Hitman! Harrison Smith, with that sack now, has joined Hall of Fame immortality. Harrison Smith needed a half sack to join the likes of Nick Bonacani, Charles Woodson, Brian Dawkins, Larry Wilson, Jack Ham, and Ray Lewis. He now has 20 1/2 sacks. He is football immortality.
How about the other Harrison?
Conklin, 6 catches, 55 yards from the pistol formation. Rodgers back to pass, and Rodgers is sacked. He's sacked by Harrison Phillips. 2nd sack this year for Harrison Phillips. That was a big one, driving back Aaron Rodgers 10 yards. It's 3rd and 13 from the Jets' 27.
And the kid never misses.
This is a 41-yard try from between the hash marks. All of his field goals he's hit have been in this direction. Snap, spot, right-footed, rookie kick is up, and good! Yes! 23-17 Minnesota, 3:07 to go in the game.
And the game is over.
The Jets 5 of 16 on third down. Rodgers back to pass, fade right, and intercepted. Did Gilmore pick it off? Come on, the Vikings. Yes! Vikings ball. I believe it was Stephon Gilmore, but he's being mugged by his teammates, and why wouldn't he? The Minnesota Vikings are going to improve to 5-0. Stephon Gilmore, with his first interception wearing the colors, has sent the Vikings into the bye week with an interception of Aaron Rodgers and what will be their 5th consecutive victory. Well done, young man.
Woo. Good morning. 9 to noon. Nordo in for PA. PA is on a plane returning from London as we speak. 651 Carpets Plus Studios and Texan talkbacks encouraged throughout of this 5-0 team. 5-0, 4KO. 64686, the Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line, free iHeartRadio app, and the talkbacks. Always loved. Max Fuller is here, and there will be time, Max, to nitpick a 5-0 team, and we will. But how good is this 5-0 feeling right now?
Man.
5-0 into the break, all the projections, and here we are.
It's the best, and especially because this was supposed to be the meat grinder part of our season. Everyone was saying, well, if they could at least get 2 wins, get one against the Giants, find a way to win maybe against the Jets or possibly the Texans. No, we beat them all, and pretty much, first half, and taking the first half into account, not the second half, we've dominated all of these really good teams, Nordo. It feels damn good. The Vikings, I can say with confidence, are the best team in the NFL. Who would have thought?
I saw a statistic that I will get to momentarily, but that's the key. We will nitpick later, but 5-0 into the break. Your Minnesota Vikings beat the Jets in London. Team's 4-0 in London. They just can't lose overseas, it appears. And they're now 5-0 in the 2024 season. Your favorite football team picked off Aaron Rodgers 3 times yesterday, including that dagger you heard right there from Stephon Gilmore. And I haven't seen Rodgers look 40 as much as I have, whether it was in the rain, it was the cold of that Broncos ugliness a week ago, and what he looked like at times yesterday, sacked 3 times as well, hobbled off the field, hobbled back onto the field, in part because of some penalty issues that maybe at some point we'll discuss. Picked off Rodgers 3 times. You sacked him. You made him look old. He didn't have a chance. Harrison Smith, now a member of the 30-20 club. He is the 7th player in NFL history with 30 or more interceptions. I believe it's 35. And 20 or more sacks, 20 and 1/2. We went to London yesterday, Vikings fans, and we handled business. And it can't be hidden much longer. But this kid kicker is a legit phenomenon. Will Reichard, pure from 54, pure from 53. He does not miss. He kicks with authority. Game ball yesterday. You can go to Vikings social media. You can see some cool moments. And when things are good, they're really good for the purple and gold. But Will Reichard is really, really good. And this team is just genuinely fun. And from Sam Darnold's perspective, he's the NFC Offensive Player of the Month for September. He wasn't yesterday, but overall he's been a revelation, right? And as Max hit on it, what are we thinking about prior to the season? How good it is to feel 5-0 based on how we thought things might go. And we get that Giants game if you can. It's going to be tough into the bye if you don't get that Giants game. Ooh, Texans. They're in the Super Bowl conversation. How about those Niners? They were in the Super Bowl last year. And you're heading to Lambeau. Just pay Jordan Love all that cash. That's going to be a toughie. Remember when Sam Darnold was going to be a placeholder, Max?
Right.
Remember when, if Sam can just get us to the bye, if he can just kind of stay upright, stay competent. Kevin O'Connell's a good offensive mind, but a guy doesn't walk on water, obviously, and that's what it would take to make Sam Darnold have a key and have a control and a mastery of this offense to win games. If we can just get to the bye, we'll get to see J.J. McCarthy.
Right.
That was one of the, and now, sadly, J.J. wouldn't be available regardless. But again, 5 weeks in, how minds and perspectives have changed. And I'm thinking about it this morning. Again, 5-0 team, mindsets changed. What if this team had been 1-4? Think about how pumped you were yesterday. I know we were talking about this, Max. Kegs and eggs, you watch your team get a W, and then you have a full day of football still in front of you.
It's the best.
Man, and they stretched that thing out with that. I couldn't make it through Cowboys and Steelers last night. But if we were 1-4, are you lamenting an injury? Are you thinking about how close we were in a certain loss? Why are we turning the ball over so much? Why isn't the defense taking any away? Think about all the good things you've seen through 5 weeks and just kind of picture the exact opposite of that. Draft position, that was part of that too. J.J. McCarthy, we'll see him at some point. Good experience for the kid. We just want to get him out there. He's still super young. Don't want to put the world on his shoulders yet, but this is kind of a transition year, Max. This is a transition year. So if we can get our future franchise quarterback some experience, we can jump into 2025 with a high first-round draft pick and really be ready to go in 2025. That draft pick is losing stock by the week right now in a big way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And talking about preseason predictions, Saucy was just talking about it on the power trip. The over-under wins total for the Vikings was 6.5.
Wow.
So there's some people over Iowa way or over Vegas way that are cashing tickets already.
Or are they sweating the under?
Right. Yeah. Like, damn it. I need them to lose out. But it's been, and I think they updated it to 12 now because, again, that was the meat grinder of the schedule. And, yeah, the Lions are a tough team, but coming up, they got some super winnable games. And we're talking about, I mean, now we went from could they get a couple of wins early on in the season to imagining where is the first loss? Like, we're genuinely looking for the first loss. And, I mean, not to go PA on the bid, I can't find it, Nordo. I don't see it. I ain't Stevie Wonder. I got 20/20, but I can't see it.
My guy's 35,000 feet in the air with his binocs right now trying to find it. And thus far, I'll check my phone at some point for an update. It's not in the Atlantic, and it wasn't in London. It wasn't at Lambeau. Not thus far at US Bank Stadium. Winning those home games. Remember last year, Vikings fans, the losses at home of all things, protecting your advantage. And just how frustrating it was to watch how things unfolded at times last year. And right now into the bye, your biggest worry is, I'd really like to see the Vikings figure out how to play better with massive leads.
Right. We're complaining that they haven't faced adversity yet.
It'd be really nice if they just figured out when they stake a 28-0 lead, if they could just, coast a little bit to the finish line and put a bigger stamp on things. It's a weird universe right now in the NFL and parity. The mainstays of the champion Chiefs, they go tonight. The injured Niners, everything. It's a tough spot for Shanahan's group. But in a weekend where you got Kirk Cousins kicking things off on Thursday night, he goes for 500 under the bright lights. Lamar Jackson is amazing in many ways, but I love how he will simultaneously try as hard as he can to give the game away, but then he will try just as hard to win the game. And Burrow's Bengals, trouble for Joey B and Cincinnati. That was an unbelievable game. McVay's team's injured. They're hard to watch. Bo Nix finally looked like a pro, and it looked like he was screaming at Peyton on the sideline over the weekend. I love that. Makes me love Bo Nix, to be honest. Stefanski's been coach of the year in the NFL 2 different times, and he might be gone after this season. Is he following Watson into the bottom of the NFL barrel? They were waxed yesterday by one of the funnest teams in the NFL, the Washington Commanders, with one of the funnest rookies and potentially runaway rookie of the year, Jaden Daniels. This year's nutty.
Except for Will Riker.
Yeah, Will Riker. Offensive rookie of the year, potentially.
Let's go.
Kickers don't get enough love.
They don't.
It's amazing. There's a psychological component to it, certainly an emotional one. We are fans. We are man-children at times over our favorite team. It's uncomfortable still, but I'm ready to love. I'm ready to open my heart. And between now and I'll take this bye week to do it, I'm actually going to start trusting the kicker, Max. I think I just have to now.
Right. We're eschewing generational trauma, Nordo. We're healing for the future generations. Will Reichert is healing the whole state of its PTSD.
No more scars. Man, it's a beautiful thing. But among all those things that are happening, the most intriguing story of the season might just actually be in our backyard. It might actually be the 5-0 Minnesota Vikings. And yesterday aside, and how things developed at times in London. Sam Darnold and what he's been able to do with this offense, Kevin O'Connell and what he's been able to do with Sam Darnold. I was getting a couple of text messages yesterday, a little bit worried, throwing the interception there. I think it was Eccles who picks it off. Some decision-making, a couple of 3rd and short situations that weren't my favorite. Is Sam Darnold, could he potentially be turning back into Sam Darnold?
Oh my gosh. Above average at that.
The hyper-analysis, that's what happens when we're 5-0. We get to nitpick these things. The defense. We won with defense yesterday. The sign, in my opinion, of a postseason team, the sign of a complete unit, the sign of a connected and cohesive bunch, is that on a day when we had trouble, save for penalties, we had trouble connecting with Justin Jefferson. Sauce Gardner left the game for a pretty significant stretch. We couldn't take advantage of that. Didn't find some things up the seam in the middle with Johnny Munt and or Mr. Oliver. We didn't find those things with enough repetition. But the defense was there for us when we absolutely needed it. How about the college team and the pro team, back-to-back, daggering games with an interception? But Aaron Jones, we need him to get healthy over the bye, crossing our fingers for the hip between now and the kiddies, just less than 2 weeks from today. But Aaron Jones, need him to get healthy. But through 5, maybe tomorrow what we'll do is kind of our faves through 5. And whether it's Aaron Jones, again, as awesome as he's been, it's Van Ginkel's pick 6, it's Cam Bynum's interceptions, it's Harrison Phillips. Guy gets a fat paycheck. How big has he been as man in the middle for this defense? Cashman, Blake Cashman, Eden Prairie's finest. He's splashing that defense and the quarterback. A summer that included tragedy off the field, season-ending injuries on it, gun-for-hire corners, rookie QB tears up his knee, and 50 different projections for how this year would go. And here we are. We're 5-0. I saw this morning, Max, and then we'll pause because I know we got Vikes Bites around the corner. A lot to get into. And statistics are what they are, right? And Vikings fans will roll their eyes at this as they know that the Vikings are one of the most winningest franchises in NFL history, despite not having that one particular win, the one that's worth more than the rest. But I saw this. The Vikings have trailed for a total of 3 minutes and 26 seconds this season. That's the 5th fewest since the merger in 1970. Let's look at those other teams. All time, the 09 Saints never trailed through the first 5. It's a tough subject, by the way, the 09 situation. They went to the Super Bowl, won it. The 84 Dolphins with Marino, beautiful hair, gunslinger of gunslingers. They trailed for a total of 1 minute, 7 seconds through the first 5. They went to the Super Bowl. Last year's Niners, $1.45, 1 minute, 45 seconds. They trailed through the first 5. They went to the Super Bowl. The 99 Rams, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, Super Bowl. The team that was previously in the 5 spot, now in the 6 spot, the 98 Broncos. Ooh, that's also a tough subject. Oh, geez, forgot about that. Freaking Falcons. Eugene Robinson, was that 98 with him? I think that was 98.
Yeah, I think it was.
Night before the Super Bowl.
Ooh.
He was getting that big award, Man of the Year.
Yeah.
Caught me, world's oldest profession. 98 Broncos trailed for 4 minutes and 23 seconds, Super Bowl. And the Vikings are stuck in the middle among those teams. It's still super early. But this level of domination we've seen is not unprecedented, as I've offered you examples, but it's a February trajectory. So let's go. The team is 5-0, and a celebration, certainly, as we enter the break, feeling so good with how we looked at things just about a month prior to this. Beating the Giants. Hey, it's just the Giants. Niners, done. Texans, done. Packers, done. Rodgers, done. 5-0. And that kicks off 9 to noon in a TimberTech set list. TimberTech.com. On today's show, around 9:40, we're going to have Ron Johnson in studio, my partner in crime for Vikings Fan Line. Put a stamp on this thing into the break as we transition into the pause, into the bye week, and come back ready to go against those kiddies. I also want to talk to Ron Johnson about your Golden Gophers football squad, PJ's team. PJ's team wins 24-17 over USC over the weekend. There was crowd storming. There was exciting. There were big decisions that the head coach went for and won. It was an awesome, awesome game. I think the first time that the Gophers, and it's not like they're playing them every year. This isn't a Minnesota-Iowa rivalry, but all the same, you haven't beaten the Trojans since like 1955. And they did it on Saturday night to improve to 3-3. So we'll talk to Ron about that. He was at the game. And PJ Fleck, head coach, Golden Gopher football, joins Mondays after games, win or lose. He's going to be with me at 10:47. And then Parker Fox, he's going to be in studio at 11. So a lot to get to. But when we return, Max is going to pump us up with some Vikes Bites and continue the Vikings conversation. I got some text messages here already that I want to hit on. And have some fun on a Monday as the Vikings improve to 5-0. Max Fuller is here. I'm Nordo. Let's give away a cash opportunity if we can.
Let's do it, Nordo. The Fan and two men in a truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword check at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword check. Enter it now at KFAN.com. Get ready, Minneapolis. AWOL Nation are set to hit the stage at the iconic First Avenue on April 28th. Don't miss your chance to see their electrifying performance live with hits like Sail, Not Your Fault, and Hollow Moon. Tickets are on sale now. Get the full details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. Nordo in for PA. Max with me. Text messages, 64686. I love this. Tim in Rochester. National media, still no respect. Still no respect. I'm actually okay with that. We joke about it 9 to noon, like we're in the cornfields. That's our bit. It's little old Minnesota Vikings and Minnesota sports. Team hasn't won the core four, I should note. Lynx tied up the series with Connecticut yesterday, I believe. Game 5 coming back to Target Center. That's tomorrow night, I believe. Tuesday night?
Yes, sir.
So a chance to move on, and they'll face the New York Liberty if they do advance to the WNBA Finals. But I'm okay. I don't need to hear what Stephen A. thinks. I don't know about you. It's cool. I get it. But not really a big deal.
Yeah, as Minnesotans, we gotta get used to
take our own personal pride.
Yeah, it's fine. We don't have to obsess over the national media so much. We're used to being overlooked, and that's okay because they'll know when the playoffs hit.
We don't need outside affirmation.
Yeah,
we just need to win games.
We know what we got.
Matt in North Carolina. Yesterday's offensive hiccups, show you that A, Darnold is not perfect. B, Aaron Jones is a vital component of our success, and C, the defense is for real. And yes, we have the potential to do some damage in the NFC. Enjoy the wins. Don't question them. Skol. Yes, and yes. Darnold, not perfect. Aaron Jones, indeed. Whether it was pass protection yesterday, the ability to run the ball. And I like Ty Chandler. He had this terrific run to the boundary. The turnover was just ridiculous. Catch the freaking toss, please.
Yeah.
But he had this run to the boundary. This is the second or third time this has happened where he gets to the edge and he's 20, 30 yards down the field. There's a holding penalty or something. And in this case, I think it was a procedure or motion, illegal formation, I think, on Justin Jefferson. Stop eating into the yards with the penalties. The penalties, now that we can nitpick. We celebrated last segment and we'll continue to feel good about it, but let's nitpick a little bit. The penalties yesterday were unacceptable. We know that. And Ty Chandler, as much as he can be a partner, a part of a tandem with Aaron Jones, he ain't Aaron Jones. And so we need this hip to be good. I'm with you there. The defense is absolutely for real. And certainly potential in an injured and wonky NFC at this particular point. So I appreciate the text messages. Continue to send them. We'll continue to mix them in. But I do want to get to Vikes Bites. Vikes Bites is presented by Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. And thousandhillslifetimegrazed.com. You can shop online. A box of meat will show up at your doorstep. Or you can go to your local Coburns. You can go to your local co-ops. And I can tell you this, they support Golden Gophers athletics. That's what the athletes are eating. They're eating Thousand Hills on the training table. And the feast prior to that USC game on Saturday must have been good, specifically for Darius Taylor. Wow, 200 yards for him, working that tush push, making the Eagles blush. Max Brosmer getting into the end zone 3 times. Love that. Thank you, Thousand Hills. Where are we headed to first with Vikes Bites?
Vikes Bites! Or maybe it's even a purple pig out today, Nordo. There's so much there's so much to talk about.
I could eat.
And we all hold down notes. You actually led me right into my first point. Obviously, Aaron Jones left the game early with a hip injury, and the Vikings offense kind of sputtered after that. Ty Chandler grinded for 30 yards on 14 attempts, averaging just 2.1 yards per carry, which obviously is pretty abysmal. Aaron Jones had 29 yards on half as many carries. But according to your guy, Mike Florio, ProFootballTalk.com, the Vikings believe Aaron Jones avoided any major injuries versus the Jets, and they expect him, at least for right now, to be ready for the Lions game in Week 7. So luckily, pretty good timing. Obviously, it's never good timing to have an injury, but about as good as timing as you can have with the bye week coming up. Seems like he avoided anything major, and they get Aaron Jones back, who was really effective, I thought, in the game early on. And just in general, I thought it was really interesting that the Vikings, obviously we know this far into the season that they're a pass-first team, but I thought they had a pretty dang good mix of the pass and the run prior to Aaron Jones getting out of the game, which is something we hadn't seen in games prior.
I think you're completely correct. And the key to this, so we were talking about it yesterday on Fan Line, is, and I got a couple of comments on it, is needed to see them run the ball more. And from a game flow standpoint, I can kind of understand that. Specifically, there were 2 3rd and shorts that I didn't like. We ended up passing, and that was, we talked about even in 2022, you win 13 games, so many things to be happy about, but this was like an 80% passing team on 3rd and 3 or shorter. And part of that goes into what we saw then, not only 2022, but through last season as well, really an impotence to this run game, specifically with short yardage. Team only had 7 rushing touchdowns a year ago. They were almost hopeless inside the 5, trying to move people back and run the ball with any effectiveness. So it was an issue. And now we've been so excited about what Aaron Jones has offered to this offense. And you're right. It was only 4 a clip for Jones. He had 7 carries. He had a nice catch and run. I think that was in the 20s somehow. So he had about 50 total yards before he got hurt. But the team actually ran the ball 30 times yesterday. This is a Vikings offense that a year ago averaged it was just over 23 carries a game. Through 5 games, the team has run it on average 28.5. So you're getting at least 5 more rushing attempts per game. So not only is that you're being more efficient and effective, we've seen explosive runs, at least the ones that don't come back via penalty. Let's help out Ty Chandler a little bit. Come on. He's doing all that work to get to the edge. Don't hold anybody. So you're getting 5.5 more carries a game. And part of this plays into, I think it can't be undersold. And he did it 5 times yesterday. It didn't always look good. But Sam, the athleticism of Sam working his way out of the pocket, making something out of nothing, and some good decision making when it comes to scrambling, that plays into it. So overall, this team is not going to be Ravens Midwest, but they are running the ball better overall. I'm curious how much of this we can just frame up. Can we just frame it up partly too? The Jets are a pretty damn good defense.
Yeah, I think that's something that people are missing in Darnold's struggles and the run game struggles, is that this Jets defense is top 3 in the NFL.
And into the game, and it's not, people have a right, but we did hit on it quite a bit last week, Max, that this was going to be the way to beat them is on the ground. And without watching every single game that the Jets have played the previous 4, but you watch, okay, they put a $180 on the Niners, albeit in a loss. They had a $130 on the Titans. Your favorite team, your favorite quarterback, Will Levis. They couldn't run at all against the New England, or the Patriots didn't. They had 78 rushing yards in that game. They were also down early. It was a 24-3 final. So you had Brissett throwing. I think Drake may have even made an appearance in that game. And then you have last week, the Broncos put nearly a $130 on them in that 10-9 slog fest at MetLife. So into the game, to be honest, it was, hey, this is a chance. This is an opening here. We don't have to air it out. They got 2 of the best corners in the NFL, probably the best overall defensive backfield. They get a lot of sacks out of their corners, by the way. One of Darnold's sacks, I forget who the guy, they bring pressure from their secondary. Maybe running the ball is going to be part of the conversation, and it just didn't work yesterday. And how much of it, again, losing Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler just at this stage, whether it's pass protection or running the ball, might just not be as effective. And additionally, the Jets know that people have been running for a mile on them through the first month of the season. So what would they do to impact that? So, yeah, it's so vital that we get him back. I love hearing that Florio snooping around, getting the right answers as he does, that Aaron Jones at this particular juncture should be good to go for that Kitties game, because this offense needs to get right.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a massive game. It's going to be such a blast. A nooner at U.S. Bank Stadium, division rival, the Kitties, the favored team to win the NFC North. I don't know how those odds have changed or shifted. I haven't paid elite attention to that, but that's the target at which to shoot. That's the team that supposedly has Super Bowl aspirations this year. They're going to be in our house, and we have an opportunity to run up the score on them.
And aside from everything you just said, I think I saw a stat last weekend that the Lions have the most 40-point games in the NFL over the last couple of years. So no matter how good this Vikings defense is, that Lions offense is high-powered, and they're going to need all of their weapons back.
They had the day off this weekend, I believe. This was their bye. I don't know how much you watched of that game with Seattle. Jared Goff, he only threw it 19 times. Had nearly 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. He caught Philly special style.
Right.
Wasn't the prettiest thing.
No. Yeah. He outran that linebacker.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. He had that lineman, nipping at his coattails at the back of his shoes, but he found his way into the end zone. Yeah, the Lions are sweet, man. And Montgomery, they use him so well. Gibbs into his set. That's that 1-2 punch that's sweet. Laporta's waking up. And Jamison Williams is a problem.
Yeah, he's turned into the deep threat that they've always envisioned him to be.
And so for the Vikings defense into that game, who I think for the most part have really prided themselves on keeping it in front of you. That's what Flores has done so well at through the first 5 games. Jamison's tough to keep in front of you.
Yeah.
And so how that matchup, and the cat and mouse game that ensues, it's going to be so cool. So, but we need our guys. We want our guys. Maybe TJ is going to be ready to come back by then. But our guys versus their guys, let's meet in the middle and see what happens. That's sweet.
Vikes Bites! Hopefully we can make Jared Goff look a little something like Aaron Rodgers did yesterday, who got picked off 3 times, just the 6th time in Aaron Rodgers' career in which he tossed 3 interceptions in one game. And how about this, Nordo? I found this stat, and it's almost unbelievable. Aaron Rodgers is 1-48 in games where he trailed in the fourth quarter against winning teams.
What?
I saw it online, which not everything you see on the internet is true, but I just found that stat, and it said he is 1-for-48 in games he trailed in the fourth quarter against winning teams. I mean, yeah, he became the 9th ever quarterback to throw for 60,000 yards. Who cares? That is an unbelievable, a huge indictment on one of the all-time greats in our sport.
Well, trailing in the fourth quarter, odds are against you, regardless of whether that stat is true, by the way. Just say it confidently, and it doesn't matter.
It's true.
Just say it with confidence.
Exactly.
We'll clean it up later.
Nobody will ever know.
No big deal. That's why we got the covenant cleanup. But, no, that's a crazy number. So, wow, 1-48. Yeah, I mean, I guess without going back and looking into it, I mean, Rodgers was at the doorstep yesterday. So there was, I think was it Mike Williams? I think Mike Williams was the guy he was targeting on that throw.
Yeah.
That Gilmore picked off. There's something there. And maybe the purest arm talent, maybe one of the savviest and just smartest guys on the field. And we're putting him in the ranks. Not, and it doesn't have the Super Bowls, but the Tom Brady types, right? This is the air that we're putting Aaron Rodgers into when it's all said and done. I mean, 20 years he's been in the league. Not starting all those years, of course. He had to sit behind Brett, but it's an unbelievable career. And he's been a thorn in our side for most of that time. But it was legit ugly yesterday. I think it was the first time, I thought you were going down this road. It's the first time he's thrown 3 picks in a game since like 2017. Yeah. So it's so that, when you start talking about that kind of stuff, the first just absolute flopper of a game since 5 sacks, first time since when he started. I mean,
first pick 6 or only like 6th ever or something like that.
Yeah, and in this, and the way the Bills looked yesterday in Houston, and I don't know how Josh Allen was knocked out.
Yeah,
how did he get back in the game?
I don't know how they let him back in the game.
So, yeah, but in that NFC East. I mean, no Tua, Dolphins, they can beat the Patriots, that's fine, but their season's effectively over. The Patriots season is over. And so when will they maybe just transition to the kid and roll with him and Drake May? But the Jets are still going to have an opportunity to win that division, and they might be a playoff team and all that, but something's not right. And he's 40. He doesn't look, this isn't Mike Gundy. Like, I'm a man. I'm 40.
Right. This isn't Mark Rosen saying he feels better at age 73 than he did when he was 50.
So we'll see how the season plays out, but it was kind of striking to watch how vulnerable at times that Aaron Rodgers was yesterday. That throw on Cam Bynum's interception it was brutal. It was a terrible decision. He clearly either did not see Bynum or trusted his arm way more than he should have in that moment. It was an awful, ridiculous throw that we would be ripping our guy for if he made that pick. So I guess I'm surprised and shocked by that stat. In the end, he's a absolute knockdown, drag out, first ballot, super easy Canton selection. But my goodness, he's 40 and he looked every bit of it for a large part of that game yesterday. And I was still sweating bullets that entire final drive because I thought there was no chance he was not going to put one in on us. But that miscommunication with Williams, I mean, he's got that thing like a slot machine pushing that button on Garrett Wilson, like 19 or 20 targets yesterday.
Yeah, just spamming it.
Lazard going, fumble bumble on it a couple of times, stone hands, but he had a productive. I think he got a touchdown as well. But there's something weird with that whole operation, and it's not looking good. Maybe it's Nathaniel Hackett. Maybe Peyton was right.
Maybe he was.
Maybe Peyton was right.
He's not beating the allegations.
Vikes Bites!
Vikes Bites!
Or Purple Pig Out.
Purple Pig Out.
You're making me feel fat. Unbelievable. You got one more?
I do indeed. You mentioned it in the first segment, but Harrison Smith joined the 30-20 club, just the 7th overall player to ever do so. And how about this, Nordo? Every other player, aside from Rodney Harrison, that is part of the 30-20 club, is a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's nutty, man. And this conversation has come up multiple times with PA at different stages. Early on in his career, I think 4 defensive touchdowns, 4 pick sixes for Harrison Smith. What he's meant to this organization, to this team, is undeniable. This 30-20 club bit, though, 35 career interceptions. He just tipped over the 20 mark with that sack yesterday on Aaron. How about Aaron? He hit him with his own celebration afterwards.
Right. I thought that was going to come back and bite us for a second. He hit the discount double check in his face.
I mean, old man's trying to, pick up the pieces and figure out, am I at Twickenham or Tottenham right now? And Harrison hits him with the title belt. Oh, it was so beautiful.
It's amazing.
I think they're buddies actually off the field too, which, that's going to be elite off-season trash talking.
Rogers always sings his praises on the Pat McAfee show. He has nothing but respect for him.
But the thing is it's like that quiet respect where, when in an age of the Earl Thomases of the world, you think about all the safeties that have run through and, when it comes to Hall of Fame voting, all pros versus Pro Bowls and how they look, Harrison Smith has remained, similar to that texter. There's no national attention. Everybody in the league knows that Harrison Smith is high end. Very few people ever talk about Harrison Smith being high end. With the consistency and the quality that he has put up over the course of his career. And maybe it is born and raised in Mankato and Vikings loving fan bias. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And the stats and the stats continue to trickle up. And it's just what a blessing to have this guy on the field. Is this the last year? Will this be a conversation into the offseason in terms of how they want to handle things with number 2-2? But I look at him as being a generational player at that spot, at that position. And the stats are starting to tell part of that story too. So it's unbelievable, the performance that this defense, he's a big part of it. Van Ginkel and the pick sixes. It's we're 5-0, man. And you know what? Ron's going to be coming in studio here shortly. We'll nitpick some things, but the getting is good right now. The getting is as good as anybody. Nobody projected this, except for maybe, Ron.
Yeah, right.
Ron knew this was coming.
Of course he did.
Yeah, everybody's sweating that 6.5 win total. He's like, it's 12 easy. And here's why. The faith that we have in our favorite teams. But that's Vikes Bites. Thank you for that, Max. And over the next hour, we'll continue to trickle in these bits because Ron Johnson is going to be in studio with me shortly at 3 Ron Johnson via social media. He gets mad if you don't mention it on the radio, but the combination of the Purple at 5-0 and that massive win for PJ's team on Saturday night, Ron was there, and we're going to talk about all those things starting around the corner. Vikes Bites presented by Thousand Hills. Thank you to Max for being at the helm for that, and more when we return 9 to noon on the Fan.
Want to chime in on what's happening with your favorite KFAN program? Make your voice heard on the Bradshaw and Bryant text line. Let us know what you have to say by texting your message to 64686. That's 64686. Standard message and data rates apply.
What up, Nordo in for PA 9 to noon. PA, the broadcast team itself, they're returning from London. Safe travels, of course. As the Vikings enter the bye week. In studio with me now at 3 Ron Johnson via the X Machine or Instagram. What about your weekend, Ron? So we got state title for the kid. We got Coy Parrish in the end zone on Saturday night. We have Stephon Gilmore yesterday across the pond.
Yeah.
It's kind of a nice little sports weekend for Mr. Ron Johnson, isn't it?
Yeah, it was busy. I lost my voice last night, so I told the parents, I'm like, I'm gonna be on KFAN tomorrow. They're like, is your voice gonna come back? I'm like, yeah, it usually does. It usually comes back. I just don't talk the rest of the night. But yeah, she came up, extra innings. So I was explaining to you the international rules for the softball people out there. You guys know the rule. You put a girl on second base.
Yeah.
We were the home team, thank God. The other team put a girl on second base. We will go through like 2 innings of this, third time up of this extra crap. Girl scores 5-4. Our girls are in the field. They're devastated. But I'm yelling like, hey, you still get the bat. And then my daughter even told me, she's like, yeah, when the girls scored, we all thought the game was over.
Right.
Because they hadn't been in that situation either a lot. Like international rule, like what the heck's going on here? And so I'm yelling like, stay in it. You guys get the bat. Stay in it. So then they get out the inning 5-4. First girl strikes out. My kid comes up, girl at second. I'm like, she looks at me. She's like, Dad, I don't know what to do. This girl's been throwing and I'm not going to say what kind of pitches because I don't need anybody out there scouting her.
I understand.
But I'm like, hey, here's what you do if she does this again, because they don't really pitch down the middle to her because she's she's hitting like 720 right now. And first pitch, she crushed it. But the best part about it was she drew across in the sand. We saw her pray for like 5 seconds because I could tell it was like the moment. And I'm like,
nerves a little bit, yeah.
And I told her, I'm like, you know what? If you strike out, I don't care. If you ground out, I don't care. Just leave it all on the field. And she crushed it to left center. And then you saw the video and you're like, oh, she got a double. I was like, oh, no. Watch this. And she turned on the afterburners.
She legged one out. How about that?
Yeah. She can move. Well,
she's a Johnson.
She turned on the shout out to Sam Mackin. That's our hitting coach, Gophers, legend in softball. She runs a pitching deal or a hitting clinic out in Egan strike zone. And the only thing she said was, tell her she needs to slide next time going in the third. But she had a stand-up triple, and then the next batter comes. Oh, and then the coach, so then he loads the bases because he knows if Cam's at third with nobody on, anything you do now, we're gonna put you in a bind because she's fast. So he loads the bases so that it's a force out at home. And the lucky thing was she's the leadoff. So he loaded it to get to our fourth hitter. So you got to get to a gauntlet. We got 3 good hitters in that 4. And so they got to Stella. Stella hit it. Cam beat the throw home. Game over. Wow. And so it was just, they celebrated. Cheers. That's mission fast pitch. They had a great game.
There we go.
But Bryn Gorman pitched. We had Claire Ginnigsman. She had a good weekend pitching. Peyton, she actually finished out the last 5 innings of the championship. Peyton had a great day. But yeah, Cam was on fire. Her bat was just live. And, I was super nervous. And then I walked away. And then one of the parents came up to me after. They're like, oh, no, we knew she'd hit it. We just didn't know where it would go. But the director of the program, Jeremy Gavin's his name. He drove out there to watch the last 2 games. He was jumping up and down like a kid. It was one of those moments where every parent, we were back. We remember that being a kid. So I almost cried. I'm not gonna lie. Because I thought about my dad. My dad passed away, and baseball was his sport. I'm tearing up now a little bit, but baseball was his sport. He played at Eastern Michigan. Football was just his paycheck, but he loved baseball. And so I know right now if he was alive, he'd be eating this up. Because he wanted me to play baseball. It got boring for me. And I'm like, Dad, I don't want to play catcher anymore. This is boring. He's like, we got to run track or something. I was like, all right, I'll run track. But I did not want to play baseball anymore. But he really wanted me to play baseball. He was a catcher. I was a catcher. My youngest is a catcher, but my older one, she's a center fielder, second base. She's like, Dad, I don't want to catch anymore. She almost caught last year because the coach asked, hey, we'll buy her catcher's gear. Can she catch? And she can. She just didn't want to do it. So I was like, if you don't want to do it, don't force it. And it was great because I just thought about that. My dad, like my mom's just like, oh, great, she won this championship. You know, my dad would have been in it. Like he would have been texting me, what's going on, what's the game. So like that was our time. Like the Tigers even now being in, like my dad would love it right now. Like the Tigers actually making it past, you know, like so, and to beat the Astros. And the Astros, they cheat. So if you could beat a cheater, like, oh, he'd be loving this. But yeah, I told my daughter every time it happens, like I could see my dad in that moment. Like he would be
That's
eating that up right now. So yeah, so she got her state championship. So it was, and then her coach texted, she's like, she's never gonna forget that hit. Like she's never gonna forget that hit. And I was like, well, I just told her like I don't care about the outcome. I care about what you put into the process. And and honestly, like I never give PJ Fleck his flowers. I take a lot from PJ. Like a lot of the stuff he says, I don't think he realizes it. Like you can use his stuff in just life. Like it's not just football. Like it's a lot of life and other sports stuff, you know. So I tell him like it's about the process, not the outcome. Like I'm fine with whatever you do here. If you fail, you fail. But what do you do next? And before that at bat, she actually hit like a pop up to first base, and she was so mad at herself because she could have won it there. And then we go to extras, and I'm like, you know what? Just stay in it. It's gonna come back to you. And it came back to her, and she crushed it.
Wow. No, that's awesome, man. That's beautiful. And that's the highlight of the weekend, to be sure. And over the next couple of segments, though, I did want to talk not only about yesterday's game with the Purple. You and I hashed out a fair number of things during Fan Line, but just kind of putting a stamp on this thing into the bye with the Vikings being 5-0.
Yeah.
But you were at Huntington Bank on Saturday night.
Oh yeah.
How was that party?
Thanks to Garrett Chernoff, you know, PJ's right hand man. He took care of me. I mean, I get to go anyway for media, and you know, but you know, he made sure my family got to come to this game too because we don't get to go to a lot because of softball, and so it just worked out that our games were early, so it was a night game, and yeah, I was down on the sideline, so pregame. You saw all the recruits. Yep. You know, and my daughter's like, why is this guy wearing a gold jacket? I'm like, well, he's from Atlanta. You know, that's what they do in Atlanta. Yeah, like this big, bright, like gold jacket. She's like,
stand out.
She's like, is he famous? I'm like, no, that's the dad of this player right here. Like, that's just how they dress in Atlanta.
He's just putting Sunday's vest on.
He just dressed up for the Gopher game. And, but all the recruits were there. So, you know, you could tell, like, it was a different energy. You know, you had all the guys on the sideline. The student section got in there early. Like, they wanted to be there early to be on TV, Big Ten Network, Fox, everybody was down there. And it was a different warm-up atmosphere. Like, I was watching Justin Wiley the whole time because I like, you know, coming off of injury, he had the knee sleeve on. You could see that he had it on him. Like, for those that don't know the celebration, he got the thing on him. You know, he was strapped.
I understand.
And you could tell he had it on him. From the start, warm-ups, like the mindset, you could see he just staring at everything. Like, real calm, though. Not like rah, jumping. Just like he was in a zone. I'm like, this guy's going to have a day. And then you look over at the receivers. You look at Daniel Jackson, same thing. They were just down. You look at, like, Max Brosmer. Like, everybody was just kind of like, you know what? We can beat this team. I don't care what they're ranked. And then as the game got going, everybody felt it like, oh, they can win this. Like, they can win this. And then slowly but surely, they stayed in it. They stayed in. That's what PJ said. If you just give us a chance, we can win these games. We can't beat ourselves, and they didn't beat themselves.
Let me pause, and then we're going to catch up on the clock and continue that. It was a massive victory for a team. You're looking at a season of frustration, right? That second half against North Carolina, things got weird in a hurry when the pig was on the line against Iowa.
Yeah, and that's a loss. I'll take that one.
But in the end, what they did, down a touchdown in the third quarter. Third quarters have been problematic. USC had like a 7-minute drive and the fight back. And ultimately, PJ had a choice. Kick it or just end this thing right here against USC. He made the big play. He made the decision, and Brosmer pushed his way into the end zone, and it was an awesome victory for the Maroon and Gold. We got field storming. It's mayhem. It's crazy. And the Gophers improved to 3-3. I do want to continue that conversation next segment, jump into the Vikings as well. Ron Johnson in studio with me, Nordo. Second hour ahead right here on The Fan.